In with the facts, whether in a small town like McAllen and the Rio Grande, or in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles. It is business, big business.
Welcome to the Girl Get Visible podcast. This show talks about traffic, marketing, and business. This is for the retailers, the coaches, the course creators, and service providers who want to build a legacy, build authority, and build a brand that people admire. The visible girls who are not afraid to get out of the sea of sameness and to find her tribe. Business owners ready to go from consumers to creators and build an online presence where your tribe can find you. We talk about topics like SEO, content marketing, and business systems, but that's only because our visible girls are ready to do business like a business. Stop hiding in the crowd and get visible.
Girl, get visible. Girl, get visible. Girl, get visible. Girl, get visible.
Hey guys, how are you doing? So today's episode, I'm going to hop right in. It is a solo episode, so you guys see we've had a lot of guests lately, but this week I wanted to talk to you myself, right? And I wanted to talk to you to answer some of the questions I get a lot about having a membership. You guys know about once a year, I talk about having memberships because there's a membership workshop coming up. So I'm going to tell you guys about that in a minute, but I wanted to answer one of the biggest questions that I get because I've had not just one, but two really successful memberships. And although I've closed them, I'm even going to tell you how I've kind of pivoted some of what I've learned in memberships to what I now do in my SaaS community. So I didn't really close. Well, I did, but I closed it and really transformed it into even helping me with what I'm doing right now in my SaaS company, which is my primary focus. So let's get into the big question. People always ask, what do you wish you knew before you started a membership? And let me tell you, there's a lot, but I think I narrowed it down to about 3 things and one little bonus for you. But 3 really big things that when people come to me and they ask about starting a membership, or if I do teaching, and part of that is starting a membership. These are some of the things that I tell them and really say, these are the things to work on before, or even if you already have a membership. So let me take you guys way, way back, right? So back when I had Online Boutique Source, which was my site for online retailers, I started my first membership. And let me tell you, and I probably have another episode. I know I got an episode with Stu, who we're going to talk about in a minute, Stu McLaren, who is pretty much the membership guy, right? One of my mentors that I've been working with for years. And I'll even tell you about that because guess what? It's a membership, right? But back then I didn't know, well, I knew of Stu, but I didn't know, I wasn't in his programs or anything like that. So I did not come through starting a membership really knowing what to do. I had listened to a couple of podcast episodes. I'd seen a couple of things, I kind of knew the logistics of it. And you guys know the tech part was easy for me. So I knew the tech part of it, but I didn't realize there were so many other things to be concerned about, right? And to think about. So my initial first, probably even 6 months of my membership was literally a churn fest. I would get people in. People were happy to join, which is amazing. A lot of us focus on the sales of it all, but then as quickly as they would join, in about 2 to 3 months, they would leave. And I would hear all kinds of things: overwhelmed, not really what I needed. This going on, that going on, all of the different reasons. It was, like I said, just literally a churn fest from people I even knew. Some of these people were my, friends, right? Quote unquote. But it just wasn't wasn't what they were looking for. It wasn't the thing. It was not the best of memberships at the time, right? And so from that's when I set out to find a mentor. And the mentor that I found was, via course, was Stu McLaren. Like I said, I'd heard him I was actually in another membership, and he had done a session in that, and I'd heard about his work with Michael Hyatt, and I just heard all these things about him. And literally this was the first time he had offered the course, and he did a workshop similar to what I'm going to send you guys to by the end of this episode, and blew my mind away to the point where I was like, whatever, I just hope I can get whatever it is that's at the end of this, because this is the answer to my prayers. And boy, was it, right? So I went on with that membership. I wind up like 10xing that membership, 10xing the revenue from that membership, the people, my churn fest became no churn, all the good things. And then I decided to pivot my business a bit, right? So I stopped with online boutique stores and decided to start Girl Get Visible and talk more about SEO. And then I started the SEO, the work club, right? That's what we called it, right? So from there, very similar. So since I'd already had a membership and I knew now how to keep people, which is important, right? This time I was able to really do it, I'm going to say the right way, because I was able to start it from scratch because I had that background. I was still in the world of membership owners, which I still am in today for this exact reason. So I was able to like get the feedback, what's the latest and greatest, what's working, what's not working. And then I was able to transition into my SEO work club, which was my SEO membership. This one I even did a little bit different when I first started it, because I started it as part of the Kickstarter campaign when I wrote my book. A lot of you guys are familiar with, I always don't have the book here to show you when I need it. This time I hit myself with it. But you guys are familiar with my SEO workbook, which I funded via Kickstarter. And one of the things I did was with the Kickstarter campaign levels, and I got some episodes on this. So if you ever have questions, I can lead you back to those earlier episodes of my Kickstarter campaign. But the levels for the rewards, the first one, of course, was the book. And the second one might have been like 3 books. But then after that, it was a month in the membership, 2 months in the membership. And that's how I started out the membership. That was in 2019. That's literally how I started this next membership. And that membership, I continued to grow. Again, very low churn rate, even down to, I wound up closing that membership last year. And the final was, I closed it down, bringing in new members in May. And then the final was in July. So you think from 2019 to 2023, I still had some of my original members in that membership. Some of them are now SEO Assist users. So if that doesn't tell you how well it went, right? Getting in people, keeping the churn down, getting folks what they need. But all of it started with me really understanding and learning what memberships were about, and not necessarily memberships being a repository of information. So we're going to start with that in a minute, right? So I wanted to do this episode because people always say, well, what didn't you know that you wish you would have known? What helped you to have a membership for so long? What helped you to keep people coming back and staying in the membership and all that other type of stuff? And I'll tell you guys, it is one of our 3. It was not that it was the cheap membership. So I'm going to start there, that if you're thinking it's price, that was not it. And actually, I'll start with that. So the first thing I wish I would have known in the very beginning, that I did actually made this mistake a little bit, almost twice, but I quickly recovered from the second time I did it, was starting out too low. A membership does not mean that now you are charging $25 for all of your information every single month. That's not what a membership is. Now, there are $25 memberships. And one of the things I also learned in these programs is that there's different types of memberships, right? So different types of memberships get different value and can have different pricing. A lot of us are so ingrained on $25 and I'm showing up 4 times a month and I'm coaching and I'm helping and I'm doing this, and we get burned out. And that's because we're charging a low price for a different type of membership. We're charging for like a coaching membership when it really should have been probably like a delivery, what they call like a UPS style, where you're just like giving one thing and not as much hands-on support, right? So there are different types of memberships. I wish I would have known about that, right? And those different types of memberships garner different price points. And because it's a membership doesn't mean it has to be super, super low. Now, I'm not going to say make it exponentially like expensive. I do know some people. Actually, I was in a membership that was almost $1,000 a month. So I'm not gonna say that does not happen. It does. But like my membership, I wound up going to 150 and I kept it at that level because that felt like a good level for me for what we were giving, what we were delivering, and those kind of things. So even at that, even if like somebody had taken a course, 150, that still means it would have been like 15, almost $2,000 per year for me, that felt like a good place, right? Like I said, I've been in memberships that are more, that have been extra coaches and all kinds of other stuff. I've been in, of course, memberships that are less, but understanding that type of membership to the type of price and to your audience and the value, because my audience was looking to learn SEO, their businesses. And if you've ever been in any of my spaces, I don't just talk about SEO. I talk about the whole thing, right? Even in my workshops that I do now, which are the build and monetize workshops, the goal is not to help you just build a site, but it's to build a site, to attract an audience, and to make money, right? So it's the whole gambit. And so when you think about that, the value that if somebody could be in my space for even a couple of months and their next 6-figure business, even the next 5-figure business, is that not worth 1,200, what was it, $2,000 per year, right? So think about that when you're pricing. So that was the first thing I wish I would have known, is that kind of you can price based on. Also incremental pricing, which is where I did mess up, like I said twice, right? Is that when I first started online boutique source, I think it's Boutiquer's Vault, that's what it's called. When I first started that one, I think I started like $20. Don't do that. Especially for the type of membership, like where you're doing like mini calls where you're actually like getting to know people's business, stuff like that. I should have never charged that little. And then I turned around, but then I did increase it a little bit, but then I turned around and it's very similar, because when I did the Kickstarter campaign, I told them that they could stay for another really low rate. I think it was like $25, $50, depending on what level they brought, right? Not to say that was bad, but quickly, and how I recovered was quickly with my launches, I started bringing that pricing up. You do want to start a little bit lower, but think about, like, if I wanted to be at if I was to do it today, I would think about, like, if I wanted to be at a 150 price point, I might say, like, what's 20% less, a couple, like 1, 2, 3 times. And then that way, every launch, I would raise it 20%, right? Because in the beginning, just because of the nature of memberships, you're not starting with everything in your membership. You're not starting with everything. You're going to want to work out some kinks and stuff like that. So I'm not opposed to charging a little bit less at the beginning, but don't stay there. Don't stay there long. And don't think that you have to go like super, super dirt cheap. I probably should have at least started in like the $75 range, at the very least, right? So that's one thing I wish I knew. Second thing I want to talk about is treating your membership like a course. One of the things that I absolutely love that Stu teaches, and you guys, when you go take the workshop, and it's a free workshop. It's, if you go to girlgiveinswhat.com/membership, you'll be able to sign up for the workshop. So it's a free workshop that he does once a year, right? So once a year, you can get in and learn all this great information. But one of the things that to this day I use is his success, right? And understanding the journey. So when you create a course, you're generally trying to get from point A to point B of teaching a thing. So like even in my book, at the beginning of the book, you're going to know nothing about SEO. At the end of the book, you're going to know how to start implementing it on your site. That is not the same as the journey once you start the implementation. Right. And that's what's really important. A course is really more like that quick overview of everything you need to get done, and you can get it done. Like somebody teaching how to bake a cake. I can teach you how to bake a cake. You are not going to be baking wedding cakes, right, at mastery level from 1 6-week course on making a cake, right? That wedding cake level is the journey. So it might start with basic cakes. And then, once you start getting basic cakes down, now doing cakes with more decorations. And then once you get the cakes with the more decorations down, now doing made to order cakes, because it's important, different than what you thought you wanted to make and what other people want. So, now you're doing made to order cakes and making cakes based on the specs. And then maybe, I'm not a cake baker, but maybe you might be at wedding cake status, right? But there's a journey to that. And there's not saying there's no set time, but it's definitely not 1 week, right? There's no like week 2, week 3. So that was the other thing that I learned, that instead of treating my membership like a course and just having a 6-week course and making it like almost self-service and people spanning it out, giving people a journey, what Stu calls the success path, right? Giving people a journey to understanding that this is how you grow to the next exponential level. So one of the things that I wound up doing, and I kind of played with it, doing it both ways. Like, so one thing I did, like when I first started the membership, we went through all the chapters of the book. So it literally was almost the course up front. And then as I, years passed or whatever, I started selling it. I would sell it as a back end membership, which is where you have a course first. So you know all the basics, you know SEO. And now my membership was about implementing. And you guys know I'm real big on implementation, even in my courses to this day, but it was all about the implementation and the steps you would go to and go through of implementing. And when I say go to and go through, like, yes, you're going to do the actions. We're all used to doing the actions, but even how you start to experience the results of those actions. So like my cake baking example, when you start doing made to order, you're going to get different results because you're going to get different feedback. You're going to have different challenges. You're going to do different things. That would be a marker on the success path. And so that's really the difference between the two. But understanding that I couldn't just take a course and make it into a membership. Understanding that it just isn't, something that somebody can learn in a few weeks is generally not what the membership is. The membership is really people who want to continue, go deeper. If it's something that's like with SEO, you're constantly, continuously creating content, right? You should be at least every month, you should be doing a couple of pieces of content, whether you batch them or do them every week, whatever you're going to do, but you should be continuously going, understanding your metrics as you grow, right? Understanding from the little site that's just getting traffic to now the big site that needs to make sure that they're really getting the most and monetizing that traffic, right? Those are different levels. So when I started to understand that, I learned a success path. I created a success path for all my memberships. I actually did 2 for the work club. But once I started understanding that and that people needed to go through a journey and that the membership was to help them through that journey more than it was to just teach them something that first time, that's one of the things that really helped with the retention, because now people didn't feel like they were just on the treadmills looking at the same thing. Now they weren't hit with I feel bad because I didn't do anything or I don't know what to do. They had a path. They understood other people at other levels. So once they got up, like, okay, I learned this. Now I'm implementing this. Now they still had more content and more things to go after. And even if you were at the beginning, you could see like, oh, there's a place for me to go after all of this. And those are some of the things that really, like, that alone, that success path alone really helped both the memberships, like I said, with the retention, because now people could see the journey and it didn't just feel like they were just on a treadmill getting new stuff, right? Which leads me to the third thing that I really wish I would have known and really wish I would have understood. A membership is not a content repository. Right now, some people do have those kind of memberships, but generally, especially with the higher dollar and the ones, again, you want people to stick around. It's not just about throwing in random content every single month. It's not like, here's a new course, here's a workshop with a new person. Like, I thought I was doing different things. I had like a guest speaker coming in every month. I had me teaching something, sometimes like a mini course every month. I had a little podcast. Like, I had all these little things, but all they were more information. And when you have people who are here to grow and here to do the thing, and they're here for a while, more and more information is not what they want or what they need. They need other things that help with implementation. So one another thing I learned with Stu, right, is starting to like mix things up. So instead of doing more content, I did implementation weeks. So instead of me coming and like telling you something new, let me come and let me help you with your questions on the thing that we've already learned. We already got this, right? We started doing activities like checking our monthly metrics, right? Which is a big thing in SEO. How are your metrics? Your metrics help you define what you're going to do. So if I don't have people checking their metrics, how are they going to know what to do next, right? So I was able to help people along with that. So we do metrics checking. At one point we just had co-working. Like, we just need space to get together and create, like just write content, just do the research, do whatever you need to do, right? So we did co-working. We got on, I asked everybody what they're doing. If there was any questions, I would be there to answer them. And then we just worked like straight up with a Pomo session. That's even something you could have one of your team members. It doesn't only have to be you. That's probably another bonus. It doesn't only have to be you delivering everything for a membership, right? Especially if you break up some of the things that they're not all like things that require your absolute attention, right? So that was the third thing that I learned. And then the bonus, which just says this all the time, the bonus is that people come for the information, but they stay for the community. That is the goldest of gold I ever got in my membership journey. Understanding that it wasn't all about me. I mean, as much as I love me and you guys are listening, so hopefully you love me too, right? But it wasn't all about me, but people were also there to be around other like-minded people. So making sure I had those open, even the co-working, like those open sessions for people to get to know each other, to connect with each other. Even while I stay now, like I said, I'm still in Stu's world. I'm still in his mastermind. I still bring some of those membership things over to my software company. If you guys are users of the software, in the community, we have challenges to help you just use the software more and understand, get those benefits out of having the software. I do monthly calls in there just to answer anyone's questions that you may have, because it's not just about, oh, I have this thing, like whether it's a tool or education or training or whatever, but it's also, I've got a community I can go to ask questions. I've got people who understand the journey because we're on the same journey, which is so much different than like some of the general business communities that are out there. Like, we're not all at the same level, and not necessarily we're not all at the same level. We're not even all on the same road. Right. So like with SEO, yes, we're going to be on different levels, but at least we're all doing something along that way. Not the same when you're just like general, whatever. Right. So, knowing that there's a place that I could always turn to is one of the reasons that keeps me in the space. But one of the things that I realized help with retention, letting my members see and experience and connect and understand that you're not alone in this. Like, we're going through this together. There are other people who either have been to it and through it, or are about to go to it and through it, or y'all are doing it right now, right? Let's partner up. Like some of the things we used to do in the work club was even content exchanges. Like, we used to have a session where it's like, what are you working on? What do you need a guest expert on? Here's this person who's a guest expert. Break y'all out into breakout rooms and you plan out what your next pieces of content are going to be with each other. Those are things that people, even if they knew every single lesson in the actual membership, every single lesson in the vault, they're going to come back because they like those collaboration corners, which is what we call them, right? Or they're going to come back because I may know all the things, but I'm going to need help doing all of the things, which is why we even now in my software do, like I said, the challenges and have the Q&A and stuff like that. I encourage people to share their blog posts so you can see how other people are using the tool and writing their content and get inspiration, sometimes get motivation, all those things. So that is like one of I know I put it down as a bonus, but that is literally one of the biggest things, is that understanding why people stay. Understanding why people stay overall is really important, because for the most part, I'm not gonna say it's easy to sell, but if you sell, you can sell, right? If you've been putting it out there, if you've been growing your audience, they're going to want to join a space in a community with you. What you don't want that space, that community to become is just like an overwhelming, I don't know if I could take it kind of place, which is what I had with my little churn fest in my first membership. So those were, like I said, three things plus my bonus, which was one, charging. I remember I forgot I changed this order. Undercharging for your membership, because what's going to happen, we business folks here, so I'm going to keep it real with y'all. We do want to get paid at the end of the day. And you can't deliver at your highest value if you're not getting what you deem to be value from it. Right. And, in the form of payment or whatever. Right. Even that, like people not showing up, that's still, you're not getting that same value. Some of these things we just talked about are going to help people show up more, right? So you're going to feel that helping people. You're going to get the revenue of helping people. You're going to get the reasons why you want to have a membership. So that's one thing, not undercharging. The other thing is not treating it like a course. You can have a course, right? A lot of people that I know have really great memberships have a front end course, and then the back end, they have a membership where people come into. Some people even have a membership, like a really small membership. And when I say small, like maybe it's lower dollar, but it might still have a lot of people. I know one person's got like thousands of people in a membership, but it's a very simple, like I think it's just like some type of Q&A, like very simple membership. And then when people are ready for deeper, they actually take her course. And then she has another membership to go with that too, right? So you can even layer these things different ways in your business, but not treating them like the same thing. Don't take your course and say, now I'm making a membership, because generally what's going to happen is people are going to get bored, right? They're not going to see a future once they learn the thing. Like, I learned it. Now what? Right? So positioning it like it's not necessarily a course, it's literally something to help you get to that mastery level, experience those next levels of the journey, is so much better than just saying, here's a course, you're going to learn how to do this thing, right? And then that third one that I mentioned is loading it up with too much content, and almost too much of the same type of content. Like, I want to still having 3 or 4 deliverables a month, but breaking them up different ways. Not even every month was the same. Like, some months would be pure implementation stuff. We learned a lot the last 2-3 months. Let's see what you've actually done with it, right? This month, instead of me teaching a new blog post type, let's do feedback on all the blogs that you guys have written, so we can really hone in on mastering the skill of this blog post type. So helping people through that with different types of content, make it easier for you and easier for them. It's definitely gonna make it easier for you because you're not making a new course. You're not making a new worksheet. You're not doing that every single month. Even if you batch it, it's still less work you have to do. And again, your audience, your members are getting that I've actually accomplished something. I actually have support in accomplishing something, which is really big for people to know and understand. And then my little bonus thing is that people come for the membership and the information, but they stay for the community. The more you think about that and listen to that and kind of get that all into the spirit of your business, the better it's going to be. Because even with courses, people keep taking courses because they like the people, right? They want other people to do it with. Because if not, we just would have read a book, right? We could have all read a book by ourselves. Even a book club, right, is a membership that people join because they want community, not because they want the books, because they didn't need that for the books. They needed that for the community, or want that for the community. And so the more you can put in some things where people can be in community with each other, or people can connect with each other, you're going to do so much better in your membership. So I told you guys, I was going to tell you guys a little bit too about Stu's upcoming workshop. And I've gone through his workshop. I think last year's the only year I didn't. I think this had a whole bunch of stuff going on. But even I continuously go through his workshop year after year. I stay in his programs year after year for all the things I just mentioned, right? And to learn all the things that I just mentioned, and some, whatever's new, latest and greatest, and what's going on in the membership space. So I'm going to invite you guys, go over to girlgetvisible.com/memberships with an S, because we want you to have successful memberships, right? But go over there, sign up for this workshop. It starts April 4th. And if you're listening to this maybe a week or two later, it's probably still going on. If you're not, if you're like, it's months later, sign up for the wait list, because he does this once a year and he has other content he puts out there. But definitely you want to listen in and learn some of these different clues and cues that will help you to build a sustainable, right? Which is most important. We want this thing to keep going, a profitable. And I know people are like, but profit means more than sustainable. Believe me, if you get sustaining, you get profits, right? And scalable membership, so you can continue to grow, because you want more people up and up and up and up, and you get more of the both, right? So you're going to learn a lot. I'm going to be there, probably going to be doing a couple like pop in little things on my pages, talking about it, asking about it, that kind of thing. We also have another challenge coming up, which I'll tell you guys about that in another episode. But head on over to girlgetvisible.com/memberships and learn more about how you can build a really great, profitable membership. All right. See you in the next episode.
It is business. Big business.
Thanks for listening to the Girl Get Visible podcast. I hope you've learned a lot about how to get your brand out of the sea of sameness and start to get visible. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show, and let us know how much you enjoyed it and what you've learned from this episode of the Girl Get Visible podcast. I'll see you in the next episode.
Get visible.